Welcome to our channel, Million Dollars Made Easy. On this channel, we run numbers for people. We just like to help them see where they might be. And what we do on this channel is use the returns for the S&P 500, the actual returns for the last 100 years, which includes the depression years. We project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. They won't be identical. And the resulting numbers are simply a possible range of what may happen in the future. So we've created this spreadsheet to kind of give you a ballpark idea of where you might be in the future. So let's say you're 40 years old, been able to save up $50,000. Any of these numbers we can change, and you can contribute $300 a month, and you increase that by 2% a year. And you plan on taking Social Security at age 67, which if you're age 40, that's 27 years from now. Now, let's go ahead and project ahead. Say you're making $60,000 a year, and clearing that, and you got $5,000 in expenses. So you're going to just plan on having that in retirement, $5,000, which would be 100% of what you currently have. A lot of people recommend 80%, but let's just do 100%. So you plan your expenses are going to be $5,000 a month. Well, that's in today's dollars. What is it going to be 27 years from now? After all, you're only 40. And you're looking at what might happen by the time you reach full retirement age. With this $5,000 given a 3% inflation rate, you're going to need 11,106. Now, there's a number we don't have in here that we really need to know. We need to know what you're going to get from Social Security at age 67. How in the world are you going to figure that out? First of all, the problem we have is Social Security uses your highest 35 years of earnings. When you're age 40, you don't have 35 years worth of earnings. You only maybe have 20 if you started working at age 20. But what that neat thing about it is Social Security gives you a tool that can give you a rough estimate of what you might have. Let's actually look at that tool. This is a tool that Social Security provides. It's found at ssa.gov. It's under Benefit Calculators, and it's called Social Security Quick Calculator. What you do is you type in your birthday date, and of course, we're looking at somebody that's 40 years old. So let's just assume that this fictional person, this is his birthday, types in your current earnings for the year. Now, this tool works best if your earnings are pretty much the same each year, indexed for inflation, which is what Social Security will do for you. So, in other words, maybe 60,000 this year, maybe 62 next year, maybe you did 58 a couple of years ago, but it indexes for inflation. So they're figuring 60,000 today, what you might have with 35 earnings comparable to that. And what's really nice is you can go down here and you can click see your benefit estimate in today's dollars. And so you submit the request and look what happens. This gives you what your benefit amount is going to be at age 67, which is 27 years from now. In the year 2051, it's 2267. If you go ahead and go back to this and do inflated dollars, it's going to submit the request and it's going to be 5634. So again, we're just going to go with the 2267, which is what would be in today's dollars, 2267. Now we're going to go back to our spreadsheet and plug that in, and that can really open up our eyes to a lot of where you might be in the next 27 years. Again, 2267. And that's going to put this right here in this box, 2267. Now, this shows you what you're going to get. Social Security, we saw it was 56. I think it said 34, just off a dollar. 56.35 on Social Security in 27 years. You're not going to get this 2267. You're going to get 5635 because that's how much it grows. So your expenses are going to be this. You're going to get this from Social Security. If you don't have any other income, you're going to need 5,471 from your nest egg. So again, here's the money going down through here, $300 a month, 306, 312, going by 2% a year. This is the money that you put in over these years. And this right here shows you the worst case scenario using the returns for the last 100 years of where you might be given all of these numbers. And I want you to notice something, folks. This shows you when your money runs out. In every scenario over the last 100 years, you would not run out of money, even in the worst case scenario. We start changing a few of these variables. Let's say you want to retire at age 65. Still no problem. How about 64? Now you're running out of money. Your money would only last 25 years. Why? Because you're taking it 3 years earlier. So there's 3 less years for your Social Security to grow. There's also 3 less years for your expenses to uh, inflate also, but we've taken out all into account. But it looks like you'd be running out of money in 25 years if we change any of these other ones. But let's leave it at 67. Just want to show you how this program works. Again, somebody age 40, say they just have 25,000 saved up, still lasting over 40 years. Say they can save $250 a month, still lasting over 40 years. Why? Because you're allowing the Social Security to build for 27 years. You go down to 65 years, look at that. You're running out of money in 11 years. Just those 2 years. You have 2 less years for the growth to grow up, for your full retirement amount to grow, which right here, we'll look at that a second. Got 2267, taking it, it's age 65. That 2267 would have grown to 5268. 5268, but what else? You only get 86.7% of that right here. Here's a 5268 if you got it at age 67, but you're taking it at age 65, so you're going to get 4565. And look how that affects everything, folks. Now you have you also have 2 less years for this $250 a month to grow. All that affects, so the worst case, again, this is the worst case scenario in the last 100 years, you'd be out of money in 11 years. So just by changing these different variables, once you know this Social Security amount that the Social Security calculator gives you, we can change all these numbers. For example, here you're running out of money, again, 11 years. What if you just figured you need 4,500? How does that change things? Now your money, worst case scenario, would last 20 years. What if you could save $300 a month? Now your money lasts 28 years. Again, this is the worst case scenario. This is the second worst. This is the fifth worst, meaning 95% of the time your money would last this long, over 40 years. Again, let's go back and show you. If we just did 250 a month, money runs out in 26 years. What happens if you had 35,000? Now your money's lasting over 40 years in all these different scenarios. These are the worst case scenarios. These are the medians, by the way. If you look here, the medians, what kind of money you would have. Obviously, if it's lasting over 40 years in these worst case scenarios, it's definitely lasting over 40, all these other ones. This shows you the highest amounts you might have and so on as you go down through here. But what you're doing is taking out this 4855. For example, let's go down through here. This is the worst case scenario, running out of money in 32 years. Again, you're doing this for 25 years. Right here, 25th year, this is what your money would have accumulated to. Now you're starting to take it out and your money's going down, but it lasts for 32 years. You can go down through. I don't think I run it that far, but it shows you calculating what you would have until you eventually would run out of money. But folks, again, this last 100 years, the worst case scenario. So we can play around with all these different numbers for you, give you some idea. But this is the key one right here. What Social Security say you're going to get based on what you're currently earning and based on your age. And we'll go ahead and run the numbers. Again, if your expenses are $5,000 a month, and say you can save $350 a month, now your money's lasting 31 years in the worst case scenario and over 40 all these other ones. So you can see the importance of what you're starting with and how much you're saving. But this one's key right here. What are you going to get in Social Security based on the Social Security calculator? That's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. Please consider subscribing. Please share this channel with others. Let them know there's a channel like out there that'll do things like this, run all kinds of numbers. I'm not a financial advisor, but I set up spreadsheets for all kinds of scenarios so you can begin having some kind of idea. Again, we're talking about somebody that's just 40 years old. How is he going to know any of this stuff? But with Social Security calculator, with how much he has saved, if he's 40 years old and wants to take Social Security at 62, he's running out of money in 7 years. But what if he already had 75,000 saved up at age 40? Now the money's lasting 20 years. What if he could save $400 a month? This just shows you the variables that we can do kind of to help you out, and you can save 3% a year. Now your money's run out in 30 years. In all these other scenarios, your money's lasting over 40 years in retirement. This is key. Use a Social Security calculator for this, and then we can change all these other different numbers especially what your expenses might be. So between what the expenses might be and what Social Security projects you to have, we can change these. Can you retire at age 62? Looks like in most cases, yes. Go to 63. And now it's lasting over 40 years, just waiting one more year. But again, that's what we do on this channel on $1 Million Made Easy. Thanks so much for watching.